That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We appreciate each and every one of you. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, a lot of stuff that makes the world kind of go, wait, what's going on? A lot of people are upset for the right reason. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things going on in the world that honestly just don't make sense. And people are trying to make sense of it. And sometimes when you try to make sense of it, it just gets worse throughout. I know the news has been pretty, well, let's put it this way. Sometimes people go, why is the senseless violence happening, right? Why is the senseless thing happening? Why is it that people are going next level bad? Why is it? It's like every day we hear about stuff that's kind of like, I mean, are we ahead of this? Are we not ahead of this? And then, of course, are people going to continue doing the wrong thing all day long? We got Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
I know you kind of, again, alluded to this, and I only saw a little. I'm not going to lie. I could not see more than like, I saw some pictures of something that happened as of yesterday, and then I saw some other stories kind of in the same line, and I go, what is going on? There was an officer shooting in L.A. just, I think yesterday, and that's in the neighborhood of East L.A., which I know people go, well, it's East L.A., but I say, yeah, but it happened right around the corner of one of my favorite restaurants called King Taco. I've talked about that. So you've got, school violence. Again, you got a shooting, which is completely needless. The other day, we had a guy which was shooting up people that were obviously, not his own color. I mean, it's like, what is going on next, right, Jesse?
Right? Is this all like people of color aren't safe in a store?
Yeah.
Kids aren't safe in a school.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I was going to school now, like I would be afraid if there's going to be a mass shooting. When I went to school, the worst I had to worry about was like a test or something, or whether or not it was going to be raining. So
yeah,
it's just like I don't even remember hearing the first ever school shooting that I ever heard of was what, Columbine?
Yeah, that was like the first of many, right? It was like, what's going on here? And then I remember they kind of did like a report on it, and they kind of blamed like it on like a bunch of stuff, including like video games and other stuff. And then I go, okay, I talked to a few people, and they said, what about the drugs that the people are taking? Is there like an interaction? Is there like a psychotic drug that makes a person worse? Kind of like certain drugs that you take, but when there's an interaction, all of a sudden the person wants to commit suicide. Because there's actually those warnings on certain labels, and you go, okay, what next, right? And then you look at pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are like, it's not our fault, but at the end of the day, is it? I saw a program the other day. It was called The Guardian, which I think they should re-enliven. It only had 3 seasons, about a guy who is an attorney. And if you guys know Mentalist, it's the same guy, Simon Baker. Great actor and great show. And when you see just the pilot and the first couple of episodes, it kind of reminds me of today. Because a lot of people, I'll give you an example. I have a book about abuse, right? But in this show, it talks about exactly that. And you can watch it, I think, on one of the, I think it's on the CBS app. It's on that end, or maybe the other one, which is Paramount. I can't remember. We've been watching Picard. But my point is this. When you have social services work with families, sometimes they have stuff that they don't even want to say every day, right? I'm trying to work with a location over here so that we could kind of bring awareness to, kids and parents and moms who are abused in their home, and they are silent about it, right? Now, this is a public thing, right, where you expect a certain amount of safety. So, of course, you go, okay, what happened in Texas? What is happening around the world? And is it going to happen again and again and again? Because what we usually see, Jesse, is kind of like a combination of, like when Columbine happened, how many school shootings happened all of a sudden, right?
Right. Like, I don't remember after Columbine. All I remember is like Columbine starting it and then everything just spiraling down.
Yeah, it was like one after another, right? Like, I think one was like a month after, and then there were a few weeks after that one, then there was a month or so after that one. It was just like, what is going on? And then people getting shoot. Let's put it this way. There's people that are for gun, and then there's people that are for no gun, right? But I say this, whose hand is the gun in to begin with, right? If a police officer has a gun, is he going to use it appropriately? Well, that depends on his temper, right? If he shoots needlessly, then I say he's not trained. He needs to be trained better, right? Because you're only supposed to shoot under certain cases and under extreme cases, but not all of a sudden just because you think their wallet happens to look like a gun. Now, I will say this, and I've seen this as of late. There are guns on the market, which you remember, like, okay, way back when, I think in the 80s or 90s, I remember this. Maybe you don't remember. But there was a kid shot because he had a toy gun, and it didn't have an orange tip. This was before they implemented orange tips. The toy gun, he kind of showed, but it was a toy gun, and then he got shot. Do you remember that?
I believe I remember that. I don't remember exactly, but I remember that was one of the reasons why they decided to put the orange tips on all the toy guns.
Yeah, exactly. And they make them more plasticky, right? Because it looked a little too like a handgun, I think, is what it was. So recently I saw some accounts and on Instagram and on Facebook of people selling pellet guns, which look cool, not going to lie. But they look so real that if you're in the middle of a situation and a cop pulls you over and you have just that, it can go next level if he thinks it's a real gun, right? And then so my question is, like, are we paying attention to that? What if that happens again? So again, back to gun. Look, if you are someone who is a security, person, and you need to take care of a bank, right? And you carry a gun, you get paid more than others, but be responsible with it, right? I've seen ones that they get a gun and they never shoot it, error, and then all of a sudden when they shoot it, they kill somebody and they don't do it right, and then they never want to pick up a gun. Now, there are the extreme others who love that and then do the harm, and I think that's the question of the day that we're going to be kind of faced with in the next few weeks, which is whenever these things happen, you have people on opposite sides of the table talking about, is gun violence a thing, and what do we do about it? But honestly, it's just a lot of this, that, and the other. Then we have law, and then we have law, and then we have law, and then we go, yeah, but at the end of the day, who's the one doing the violence? Is it the majority? Is it the minority? What's going on, right? Because there is a thing called kind of like no trespassing, right? Do you have the right to defend? The answer is yes. Do you have the right to go to a school and shoot people? No. And then other people go, well, how come somebody doesn't have, a security guard that has the right to shoot a guy or a girl like that does harm to the whole school? I've heard that question. I go, well, that's not a bad thing. It's like patrol. Some schools have patrol of not just guards, but also sometimes police. I've seen that in certain parts of LA, and I've seen certain police kind of like be with the school kids, and they kind of monitor and they kind of see the situation, and then they kind of like, do a little bit of community, kind of like, okay, I see you, kid, you're kind of doing some bad stuff, but they're very alert, they're very aware. So in that case, I say, well, in that event, you need that. But then it goes to the other extreme of, well, is it too much on one side? Is it a police state? Is it too much? They have it, but we do not, right? And I've seen and talked to people that actually sell guns. I've talked to people that own guns. I've talked to people that own anything that can hurt anybody. Now, let's go back to sledgehammers. Sledgehammers are hurting everyone. Are we going to ban they for hurting somebody, right? At the end of the day, they have a tool. They're usually used for construction purposes, right? Or breaking up concrete, right? So either side of the aisle, at the end of the day, I always say this, go after the person who has the ability to go next level and shoot everyone. Those are the people that you got to be aware of. And those are the people that usually either have a prior or they have a lead-up moment. And if they don't have a lead-up moment, then what is a lead-up moment? And it's usually not the, and I get it, other people go like, okay, but how do they get automatic weapons? Because that's like military, that's like what we see on, certain shows where usually like, the cartel or mafia members have, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, who is getting these guns, and then how are they getting them to an average person? But they actually sell these. I've seen them because I was looking at some guns, and I was looking at some pretty cool guns as well, and I was like, interesting, because I was thinking about it for a movie, and I was like, okay, what kind of gun would be in the movie, right? But again, doesn't mean I'm going to go out and shoot someone. Now, everybody knows I was attacked, right, in December by a guy. And I've said it. If I had a gun, I'm pretty sure the guy would not have hurt me, right? But I didn't have a gun. I just had myself, right? And I was left for dead pretty much, right? People don't know that, but that happened at McDonald's in South Central LA. So I've thought, okay, at the end of the day, there was a guard there, but was he with a gun? The answer is no. I remember him just now, actually. I'm thinking about it. But at the end of the day, would I wanted he to have a gun? The answer is I don't know, because the level of violence was basically, yeah, the guy didn't have a knife. Let's put it that way. He just slugged me to death, right? And I passed out and I was unconscious, right? But at the end of the day, he took my phone and he got away. So I'm not dead. I would have been left for dead, but at the end of the day, I'm not dead. So I've thought, okay, what do I do to protect myself? Because I go in some areas where it's very, very like extreme. So I get the violence is picking up. I get that the mentality is picking up. But at the end of the day is this: there are people dead for it. And in this school shooting, there are names that go with it. And when you see the names that go with it, and there's a lot, you go, what's going to happen next? Now, there's the other side of the aisle, and I've seen this on a couple posts where people go, oh, okay, this is just a planned thing for our guns to be taken away, this, that, and the other. And I will say this, in defense of that, I will say there are those that actually do take these and they make it a political thing. I will say that, all right? And then you see laws kind of constitute something down the line, and there's certain things. But I say this, better safe than sorry, especially with people that are like unwell, right? Better safe than sorry, okay? Now, there are background checks that could be done. There are things that you could do. But if you go cross country and you get a gun from someone else, or you get a gun from somebody private sale, there's still a way around it. So there's stuff that you can do, but at the end of the day, you have to keep yourself safe. So I would say this to the people out there: be aware of anybody going next level. Now, I said this just the other day. In Montebello, we had two guys at 7-Eleven that pulled out their guns. They're probably like, 18 and 20 or 21. And they went like shooting at each other. And there were people completely innocent, all because the guys dogged each other. I don't know if you saw that video. So the violence is picking up. So I think, Jesse, if anything, you're kind of feeling that. But when you talk about a school, you talk about innocence, and you talk about victims, and you talk about the kids, and you go, okay, who are the people letting these people get away with murder? Because there's always a prelude, right?
Right? I'm just like, yeah, I was like, what was going through that person's mind just to attack innocent children?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do nothing. They're barely growing up. They didn't even get a chance to experience life.
Yeah.
So it's just like, my mom works at an elementary school, so that makes me worried because she's the type of person that will rescue as many people as she can. So it's just like, I don't want this to happen. I don't need this to happen.
Yeah, and again, I didn't want to look at the story because it's getting a little overwhelming, not gonna lie, okay? And I almost like, sometimes I kind of, and I know it's weird, but sometimes I come to tears when I hear these things and I think of these things, and I go, okay, I gotta like maintain perspective, but it's getting a little overwhelming, all right? I think people are feeling that, and I can tell because people are like, okay, what do we do next? And I say this: who's the person with the gun, right? Now, Algenia commented on this. She's in Georgia. She says this, and you know, I'm gonna stick to the information. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna pull up the information. We'll talk about it, and then talk about what you can do as well. I've seen some shop owners kind of team up. I don't know if you saw the jewelry store kind of getting taken advantage with a bunch of guys. I think 3 of them. They come at the jewelry store, and then the employees go at them. Even the women. Did you see that one by chance? The women are like, we're gonna. And one takes like a what is it? A chair, and like wants to throw it at the bad guy. And I'm like, good job. That's how you fight, right? Although I say be careful because you might get hit.
Right? Yeah. No, I actually saw that video and I could not stop laughing. One, because, yeah, no, there was one person that they brought to the floor, and the woman came running up. She started to kick him. And I'm like stomping on him. I'm just like, oh my God, yes, this is this is what should happen to every thief that tries to steal in a store.
Yeah,
Give us
exactly. Yeah, you got to team up. But again, I say when it's a jewelry store, just let them take the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not your store. And if it is, just be like, all right, guys, you know, it's not worth your life is my point. I'm glad they went at him. I say this, you know, there's churches that are getting shot, right? We had a report on that, I think, a week ago. And, you know, the ones there kind of went at the guy and muscled him to the floor. That's what you have to do because, you know, it could get worse, right? I know somebody was talking about that recently. And they're like, all right, what do we do? You know, people say, hey, say a prayer. I say, defend yourself, right? And then say a prayer. And then hope angel will come as well. But my point is this: we got to be safe. We got to be very much aware and alert of people that are kind of like in the area in our community that kind of look a little off, and then go, okay, note to self. And then if you see anything, report it. I know I reported something down the street of my own place, and I talked about it here on the show because my mom was actually looking at the red moon. Remember that? That was on Sunday with the what they call the blood moon, right? And there was a guy that came out all of a sudden looking for a woman that he said was missing. But when I called the police, because he was a little weird, he was going door to door, and he was like, and then he accused me, do you know the woman? Did you? Oh, you're lying now. And I'm like, dude, you need help. But the police didn't take him away. They just kind of let him walk the street. And I'm like, okay, that guy needs mental help because you don't know what he's going to do. He was accusing me of taking whoever this woman was on his phone. And when he was cornered by the police, they said, well, how do you know this woman? He goes, well, that's my ex. So it's like, stalker. Like, you know, what's going on with this guy? Because he said the house across the street, he heard a like screaming. He goes, I think they kidnapped her. And I'm like, okay, this guy's mentally unwell. So I called the police, but they didn't do anything about it. Now, what if that guy takes out people in the street? I'm going to be like, yeah, you should have taken him and gotten him some meds, right? Get him locked up, man. You don't know what's going to go on. So this has happened in my own area, right? So I say, be careful, be aware, and, you know, carry pepper spray. I know I have my mom, well, she was the one that thought about it, but now I'm thinking about the pepper spray, which alerts the police where you're at, right? Because they have that. We've talked about that here on the show. So we talk about safety all the time. But at the end of the day, when you're in a school, you do not expect for people to be dead. You expect them to be educated. You expect them to learn. You expect them to get the help they need. And then you do not expect that. You do not want to say, sorry, I now have to, you know, like, I don't want to say it. Okay, we got to take a quick break because I'm getting a little emotional here. All right, people, we're going to take a quick little 3. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
AJ here from Living the Good Life Show. Each week we talk about the good life, travel, all sports, especially golf and lifestyle. Celebrating 30 years, we bring you fresh inside the ropes reporting and one-on-ones with Hollywood's finest. So stay in the know with Living the Good Life Show Sunday morning 6 to 7 a.m. right here on KMET AM 1490 ABC News Radio. Presented by Apollo Hospice Care. Care that comes to you. Visit apollohospice.com today.
The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff and spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-500. That's 951-572-5500 or go online at hiebanning.com.
Spread the word. IE Newswire is now on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 p.m. on Rumble and KMET 1490 AM, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Join all the cool kids who want an eclectic look at the news without all the filters of the evil scoundrels of social media and the despicable dorks of the dominant press. Don't fumble and stumble. Subscribe to IE Newswire on Rumble and roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around.
KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We are looking at breaking news on this story that Jesse has brought up a while ago yesterday and today. Now, the situation as of late, if you don't know, again, this is the situation again in Texas. And this happened as of yesterday. The headline, deadly shooting at Texas elementary school. And when you think about that, you think of the kids at that age, you go, oh my goodness. Now, The latest news that I'm seeing from a couple outlets is currently, okay, I get it. All right, here it is. I'm just trying to confirm some information. 19 children and 2 teachers at the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, are currently dead. Okay, now this is a horrible thing that happened, and when I say horrible, that's not even a word that describes what exactly happened. I will say this. The guns are very, it's sad.
You know what?
Go ahead, Jesse.
What guns are they using? I didn't know what guns did he use. I actually didn't read that part.
Yeah, I'm going to bring them up actually because they have them here as a photo, and I'm going to just post it here so you guys can see. This is the level here. And if you look at these, I mean, these are the kind that you kind of go in, honestly, like with a SWAT team on. Okay, those are extreme. Now these this is a photo of 2 AR-15 style rifles which appeared on the Instagram account tied to the shooter 3 days before the massacre at Robb Elementary School. Part of the image has been obscured by the news outlet to remove the user's name of a third party. All right. Now, it was posted under the username. I'm not going to say that, for that. Multiple classmates confirmed the account belonged to the gunman, Salvador Ramos. Okay. Now, Salvador Ramos is honestly a kid. When you see his photo, and I don't want to bring this photo because I'm going to say this right now. There's obviously something that happened in the middle of it all, and I'm sure there was something at home, and there was something really bad. I'm not going to say he's right. He's obviously wrong, but there's always a lead up. We've talked about this in the past with certain other situations, and there's always a lead up, and we kind of don't ever follow up on the lead up part. We just follow up on what happened, the end result, and then we kind of say, okay, guns are the issue, but there's always a lead up, usually of somebody being upset, somebody being mad, or somebody just being something, right? And nobody ever goes back to the home environment. Nobody ever goes back to the lead up. People just say, okay, well, this is the situation, and they don't ever go far back enough. Now, I will say this, and I'm just looking at this now. The grandmother of him is hospitalized in critical condition. The suspect is believed to have shot his grandmother before going to the school, according to 3 law enforcement officials. Okay. Now, I don't know what the situation is there, or if he lost it and then went and shot everybody, or if he lost it in the middle and then shot everyone, right? No one knows the situation. That's why this information is new. But I think it says, okay, what is in the mind of one who does this? And also, how did he get these guns, right? He's obviously, I think, underage. He looks young enough. Again, I don't want to bring up his photo because I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for the kids that he shot, and this guy's going to have to suffer the rest of his years for it, right? But I will say this. If it involves medication or involves pharmaceutical, we need to start looking at that. There's a reason sometimes they look out of it, right? There's a reason they look like zombies, I will say. There's a reason the face of some are like, what am I going to do? Okay, and I'm not going to lie. In the first episode of Guardian, it kind of discusses that about a pharmaceutical company who wants to take no, how do I say it? Watch, it'll come out. Guaranteed he's being treated for something. Then they go with the mental wellness thing that he's unwell, but there's always a lead up. So I go, okay, what's the medication all these kids are getting, and what is the situation happening? Now, did he pull a trigger? Yes. What's pulling his mind is the question, right? What's the lead up in his mind? What's going on in his mind? And people don't understand. Kids are sometimes adults at a very young age. Sometimes they're abused. Sometimes they're the victims of abuse. And those victims of abuse have anger. They have things that they don't want to say. There's things going on that they don't want to, tell. Some are abused physically. Sometimes, and I hate to say the word, but I'm going to have to say it, molested. Right? Some of the kids are abused and they don't know what to do with the anger. Now, I'm not saying this happened for this kid. I don't know his situation. But if it did, that stuff needs to come out. Because at the end of the day, you need to say, okay, what do we do ahead of this if it were to happen again? Now, there's nothing we could do now because these kids are dead. 19 students, all right? The death toll has risen. And that in of itself is horrible. And then people go, I'm looking at a report here. When in God's name are, oh, that's what Biden said. When in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? Okay, but let's go back to one of three things. One, the one who pulled the trigger, why he pulled the trigger, and what happened at the end of the day. How did he get his hands on this gun? Now, if you talk to SWAT, you want SWAT to have guns like this, right? If you talk to military, you want military to have guns like this, right? I mean, Biden doesn't want them not to have guns like this, right? But at the end of the day, are you going to be responsible, right? Now, did he have a family member that maybe got his hand on one of these things? Or, I mean, Texas is a gun state, period, end of story. Everybody has a gun in Texas. You do not want to get upset with somebody in Texas because they may have a gun in their vehicle, right? We've seen shootings like that. So at the end of the day, I say this, let's go to the situation and go to all the situations up till now, because I'm pretty sure we can, and let's look at something that I honestly heard somebody say, and I said, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Why don't we? Pharmaceutical. Let's go to what part of the mind is working in a way, because honestly, and I know this from experience, there are people that actually will go into like the hospital because of a pill or a pharmaceutical prescription that interacts with another prescription, or because it's new, it causes certain things and or thoughts, like thoughts of suicide. Now, if you have thoughts of suicide, or you get delusional, or you get extreme, is it a pharmaceutical thing? I think we need to kind of say, hey, what about that? And why are we not doing that? Is it because it's too much to prove? Is it too much? Because if they have the warning on the label and you see at least a minimum of, let's say, 1,000 of these kids, I don't know how many kids have done this shooting, but you take 1,000 and you say, okay, what are the same things they all have in common? And you look at the lead up. Usually it's the home, it's the environment, and sometimes it's the medication. If they had no medication, would they have done it? That's the question. Now, if they had no medication, I'd say, oh, okay, that kid's unwell 100%. Maybe it needs to be on meds, right? I'm not saying meds is not the answer, but I am saying sometimes in the chemical brain of the body, there are things that happen, and extreme behavior sometimes happens with extreme dosage or an interaction with several. I know because I've had people that I know that are in the hospital, and then they go, oh, I had a drug interaction. And when they have a drug interaction, it messes with the mind, right? So, I mean, let's look at COVID for a minute, okay? Some have said that they hallucinate when they have COVID, right? Maybe it's less oxygen to the brain. Maybe it's, something else. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we got to start asking the question of, is it something in the head? Now, back to The Guardian. If you go check it out, again, with Baker, he's awesome. He's in the Mentalist. But this was before he did Mentalist. And he is an attorney who gets in trouble with the law, so he has to do community service for a social services agency, which deals with family issues. So he's a high-profile attorney, which usually does corporate stuff. So he makes a lot of money on the big corporate stuff for his father and for his grandfather's business. But at the end of the day, he kind of doesn't want to be stuck with little menial stuff until he sees it be extreme. And in the very first episode, the kid, who's probably 8 or 9 or 10, has to deal with something that his father did, which is kill his mother. And right in front of him, okay? And the kid has to see this. It starts off with the kid being bloody. I mean, it took off for three seasons. A really good show, pretty adult. But at the end of the day, they proved that the guy was on meds. So he still did it. He still had to go away, but he was a doctor. But he lost it. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying meds are the one that causes the end result. I'm just saying you have to see what we could do about it along the way. And if that is a thing, then you got to either A, look at the pharmaceutical part, and B, say, okay, what are the interactions we're having? And C, let's be responsible when it comes to meds, okay? Now, it's a heavy, 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 heavy hand and a heavy heart that I know a lot of people that are, doctors that deal with, meds and medication and follow-up, and psychiatrists and psychologists and, sometimes clinicians and chemists and other ones that are all involved to say, well, we're trying to treat something that's already unwell in the mind. But I say, what's the prelude to that? How do they get there? And usually it's violence at the home. Usually violence at the home creates anger. And usually the anger starts with someone, either a family member or a molestation case. And they just don't know how to deal with it. But nobody's talking about that. And you kind of need to when you talk about kids that are this age which are getting their hands, not going to lie, that's where we go back to gun. If they get their hands on a knife, they could kill 3 people, but if they get their hands on a gun, they could kill 80 people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Guns, they're actually really easy to get. They're not very difficult. As for like murdering people, like if he really wanted to, he can kill as many people as he wants. He could just get a car and start running random people over.
And people do that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. People do that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, then there's the whole, what was it? The medication thing. Like when I first, like I take medication. So I take an antidepressant. The very first time I took it, I felt dead inside. Like I had no emotion at all.
Yeah.
And it, like, I did have suicidal thoughts all the time. I would poke my skin trying to make myself bleed. And it was very scary. But it only lasted like a month and a half. Although I probably should have told my parents about how it made me feel. But either way, it's very dangerous. And if a kid is on these, they should really like talk with someone every day, because you never know how their brains will be changing.
You got it. And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you look, here's the point. Kids don't know to say anything, right? And when you're dealing with the chemistry of the mind of a teen, the teen is already going through so many hormones, right? That's when the kid basically all of a sudden likes girls a lot, right? He might be 8 years old and he doesn't like girls, right? So the chemistry of the brain is constantly changing from the ages. Usually, this is on average, there's different at every age. I'm not gonna lie, when I was a little one, I liked older women. Just gonna say that. But I kind of matured at a young age, honestly at the age of 8, okay? But a lot of kids typically are anywhere from 9 to 13, like a lot of stuff happening to them, right? That's why usually there's a change after the age of 8, and if you're a parent, you need to be aware of the signs, okay? Now, if there's violence at home, that's gonna have an impact, okay? If there's abuse happening at the home, it should be discussed, okay? Is there abuse at the home? Now, will a kid admit to that? The answer is no. But if you look at the family and you look at that dynamic, you go, wait a minute. Then you start to understand some things. And some of the violence we've had here, at least in LA, if you look at that first, you go, okay, interesting. So that's first and foremost. Now, somebody said this in social media. He said, don't forget bullying at school. Now, I will say this. Is that the situation here? Is it enough for a kid to take a gun, shoot a bunch of people, including teachers, and shoot others? I say this is extreme behavior of a whole other kind. All right, so it has to be dealt with individually first. But what I'm saying is, to start preventing the violence from happening again and again and again, you got to say, okay, what's happening with the kids in general? Because at the end of the day, it's happening with kids in general. Kind of like the comment about, bullying. Because some of these kids of Columbine were bullied, but I think there was a prelude to that as well. I think there was molestation in that. And nobody looks at the home environment. And if you're in social work and you are trained to look at the home environment, then you know how to kind of at least be ahead of it. You cannot, let me put it this way. There's so many things that there are so many things that happen at the home that it's hard for social services to be ahead of it all. But they have, let's put it this way. If you suspect and or theorize and or think there's a problem, you can do a call, report it anonymous, and they do a welfare check, okay? It's a thing that I learned along the way with a friend, and she's like, yeah, just call a welfare check. I'm like, that's smart. If you suspect there's drugs involved, if you suspect there's beating in the home, if you suspect anything, you could be anonymous, report it, and then you have to check in on the kids, okay? Now, will they do it all the way through? Well, that depends on if they have money, if they have the time, and how many cases they have, right? Some are reported and nothing happens. Some are reported and something happens. And then some get upset that something's reported because then they take the kids away. But I say this, if you take the kids away for a little and you get with responsible people, then the kids may have a better start than not doing anything at all, especially in this day and age, right? And that's what's happening. And people will disagree with me left and right, but don't be a parent that causes a problem in the beginning and you won't have any problems, right? So that's my story I'm sticking to. I've talked to a couple social workers since. I even dated one a while back, and I'm like, you know what? There's got to be something for the kids. And in this situation, I think there's more. I get that we jump to the gun part. I get that because that's the end result. And I'm not saying don't jump to the gun part, because there's violence happening on the streets. There's gang violence. There's people that get their hands on guns. I mean, there's people that got a bunch of guns from, a train that were delivering Amazon products, right? I don't know how the guns got on the train, but they got all those guns. Those guns are somewhere, right? And then cops did kind of go in and raid on some of the people in the area of LA and get some of them. But at the end of the day, they get out there, and you don't need a permit for those. You just need a certain amount of cash, right? I've seen things at jewelry stores or pawn shops. Right? I say, get a gun that's registered. Get one, because you never know if it shot somebody, and then they unload it and offload it, right? And now you're stuck with the gun that might have killed somebody. Then it gets taken from you, and all of a sudden they do an artillery check, and a ballistic check, I should say. And then all of a sudden, you're wanted for murder because that gun may have killed somebody. Now you're like, no, I got it at this point. That's why you need a proof of sale, right? So that's the best thing to do. So don't go with used guns is my point, especially in this day and age, because people will just be like, hey, how much for that, right? Because some of these guys don't think. Again, they're using hammers, man, right? Like, I don't get it. They're like, oh, it's not a gun. So I say this, the violence has taken a whole other level, but we got to be ahead of it, right? What do you want to say, Jesse?
No, like, do you remember that woman who robbed a Rite Aid with a pickaxe?
Oh, I remember very well.
I'm like, oh my God, people are just taking whatever they want out of the shed and using it as a weapon.
Yeah. No, it's, again, but the mind of that person is unwell. We saw the video of that. She is unwell. When you shout obscenities, you're talking to somebody and they're not there. That's kind of unwellness. You know what I mean? So you got to be aware of that, right? And then make sure, people aren't having extreme behavior, extreme anger, and extreme stuff, right? And sometimes you don't know if they have extreme thoughts of suicide, but if you're honest and you're open and you let kids know this is a thing, maybe they'll get the help if they don't get looked at different, right? So they really need intervention programs that kind of make sense for kids, because if you isolate yourself and you're kind of a loner and you're kind of like that, I'm sure there's a prelude that will come out about this kid that others will say, yeah, I kind of saw it coming. There's already information about some stuff that he posted. Was that a plea for help? Some would say yes. I would say no. He obviously thought it was so normal. The question is, what was the setting off point, right? And I know people blame movies and people blame video games and people blame everything, but they never look at the pharmaceutical part, and I think we need to, okay? Let's go to some comments. Actually, let's go to our next break, and then we'll come back to the comments and social media, because I know this is a thing that is kind of like a very hot topic, but again, there's balance, and when we have balance, then we understand, wait a minute, something else needs to be done. All right, we'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
What is commitment, and why is it so hard to achieve? The new book, Committed, by Dr. Carmen Hara and Alexandra Hara, will make you reevaluate the way you think about love. Committed is a relationship manual that unfolds in 2 parts: the work you need to perform on the inside and the 7 distinct archetypes you'll encounter on the outside. Committed, a new book available on Amazon by Dr. Carmen Hara and Alexandra Hara, will help to find and keep the love you deserve. Committed, available now on Amazon.
Your Pharmacy and Mobility Solutions is now Beaumont Pharmacy, with a new location at the Sundance Corporate Center. That's at the corner of Highland Springs and 8th in Suite 110. Of course, they still have Pack Your Meds. No more counting out the pills, dropping them on the floor. Oh, what a mess. And they have a full selection of pharmaceutical CBD. Wheelchairs, over-the-counter meds, you name it, they've got it. So if you're looking for the best and you want the best pharmacy, you go to Beaumont Pharmacy at their new location, 835 North Highland Springs, Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California, Suite 110. Give them a call, 951-845-8252.
Summer's almost here, and you know what that means. Sunny days and hot temperatures that make you want to stay inside. Franklin Mechanical Systems can repair or replace your air conditioning unit to get it working before the heat hits. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems is the one for all your residential and commercial air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and get cool today.
Here's to your health with Joshua Lane. Ideas you can use to be healthy and stay healthy. The current thinking about beauty, fitness, and longevity. Every Tuesday and Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Wellness talk you can use. Here's to your health with Joshua Lane on KMET, naturally.
When you want the best performance for your vehicle, think only of Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, right off the I-10 and 60 freeways. Check out Scott's complete list of performance products on their website at hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers can recommend ways for your car or truck to get better gas mileage and cut down on emissions. Need your car or truck to pass smog only? Go to Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont. Find out all of your questions on vehicle performance by logging on to hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont. hdrinfo.com.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. If you're just joining us, we're discussing the latest shooting. And again, this is in the Texas state, which a lot of questions are happening and a lot of statements are kind of being there. Again, like I say, there's always a big topic. It's always the gun part of it. And that's a good discussion to have. I just say it's kind of one that we always go to, but we never go what led up to it, right? And I will say this, there has to be a discussion on all levels of the field because there's always a lead up to it. You know, one of the questions from our social media chat room is anybody knowing who the retailers that sold these guns, right? Of where did these guns originate from? And that's a great question. Right, that's a number one priority question, I would say. You know, did he get it from a family member? Did he have access to this? You know, there's some people that have gotten access to guns and then had violence, and they got it underage when they weren't supposed to get it at all, but they got it from somebody else, right? So there are certain things that, again, are good safeguards. But at the end of the day, you know, guns are guns. I talk about missiles. You know, we have government that has missiles pointed at each other. You know what I mean? That's extreme. You know, if you want to talk about anything, you need to talk about that and violence just in the home and at school and at banks and at jewelry stores and on the street at 7-Elevens, right? You got to talk about it all. But when you start using these as what people call a platform to discuss it, I say, well, why are you not talking about all of it, right? And is violence is it taking up next level? There's been gun shootings on the street or on the freeway when people get upset and mad and angry, and some people just are not responsible, period, end of story. Now, is it a weapon? Yes. A missile's a weapon, right? We don't have those discussions about missiles anymore. We did when we were like, oh, we need to start like, you know, there was a lot of words about, you know, getting rid of you know, bombs and disarmament and, you know, are we at the end of a Cold War? And now people are wondering, are we going to war again? So there's a lot of violence happening on this earth. And I say this, we really got to get ahead of it because people are being irresponsible. I know in some areas people think they're being responsible and some people are being responsible. Back to police. Police really need to honestly get more training. Okay, I think a lot of police don't get the proper training to look out for themselves and look out or to look out for themselves and around them. I've seen people in the streets, and I'm not gonna lie, I've done a couple like, you know, things where I go, okay, well, there's a lot of like, okay, I talked about it on the show about reward, right? And if somebody does something, if you have like you know, information, you can actually report it, right? Crime Stoppers is a really good organization, but you could report something anonymously, right? But I've been in the field kind of like in seeing some of these reports and investigating certain things and going, okay, what do I know? And I already reported on a couple of them. I'm waiting to find out what happened as a result. But, you know, at the end of the day, I've seen police kind of just be casual, and I'm like, nah, that's going to be a problem because you're in an area where people carry a gun and they don't care, all right? And if you have no respect of the community and no care of like them looking out, you know, in a way that they're like, man, I could do you in. We remember that, you know, when the woman police officer was bombarded in her vehicle right near the, I think the police station. And that was like, what, a couple of years ago? I think that was in 2020-ish, right? There's a lot of stuff happening around protesting. And, of course, police were kind of being the target of some of it, not all of it. But usually, you know, if you take out a, you know, gang member or a mafia member, sometimes they retaliate, right? So police have to be trained to watch their six. And honestly, if you're in a situation like this, you want SWAT to move in, right? You want them to take out the shooter, even if it's a kid. And that's a sad story of the day. I think we really need to be very mindful of what we're living in. We're living in through a lot of problems. Okay, there's a lot of food stuff problems. There's a lot of like disease problems. We got pox being an issue. Oh, by the way, Jesse, did you see this? First case reported here in California with monkeypox.
Are you joking or?
I wish I were. I don't joke about stuff like that, man.
Oh God, of course it is. It's probably been here for a while.
Well, okay. Technically, you're not wrong, because usually when it gets reported because they went to the hospital and they're like, "What is this?" Right? So that means it's here in California. Okay, this was something that we were talking about. So a lot of news headlines are starting to go that way as well, and people go like, "Oh man, what next?" Okay, I thought honestly it would be like in certain areas. It was like in, I think, on the East Coast, right? I didn't think it'd be that quick that it would be here. Not gonna lie, but it is. So
honestly, it was probably already here while we were reporting about it. People travel everywhere, so I have no surprise that this virus is just flying around wherever.
Yeah, and I will say this is Northern California, okay? But still, it's here in California. It's not hard to travel, and that's how these things get out of hand. All right, so this is the latest. I know it's all bad news. I'm sorry, people. But here it is. First likely case of monkeypox reported in California, believed to be in Sacramento County. Yeah, we're going to have a statement on this, guaranteed, in a couple of days. An individual who recently traveled to areas in Europe where monkeypox has been reported returned to Sacramento County. Oh, there it is now under investigation by the county. While their diagnosis has yet to be confirmed. Okay, well, that's the thing. The county said in a press release, this is called "We Want to Be Ahead of It," because if that person came into contact with anyone in the last several days, guess what's going to happen to all those people that kind of came across this person, especially if they had a moment in time with a certain loved partner, right? This is why I say, man, be careful with who you hook up with. You never know. I'm just saying. But it can happen even if you're kind of like rubbing shoulders with somebody that's infected. That's the problem with this particular pox. If you do the research and you're in the vicinity of somebody and you rub up against them and they have it on their skin and it's the beginning stages, guess what? You got pox. That's how bad it is, Jesse.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't touch people.
Yeah, don't.
That's all I got to say. Like, even when I go through crowds, I do not like touching shoulders, so I'm always like dodging and weaving, trying to get through people. So I'm good.
Yeah, don't. Okay, that's my number one thing on that. I recently told my mom, do not go on the transit system, because this stuff also lives on steel, okay, metal. So if you have a lot of that, which if you know the transit system, yeah, wear gloves, okay, and wear full body stuff, because in the next 3 months, it's going to be talked about, and we're going to know about it as pox, because there's different versions of pox, and all those are coming full center, because we got monkeypox, we got cowpox, we got other pox, but it's not like chickenpox. Very important, okay? This pox is extreme pox. That's why it's really bad, okay? This isn't one where I know some reports are saying, oh, you'll be fine in about 8 weeks. Okay, just say this. I do not want pox. Just say that out loud. Say it to yourself, okay? And then you understand, okay? Because you do not want pox, all right? Jesse, just say it. Say, I do not want pox.
Yeah, I don't need pox. Oh, my God.
Good. Now say, I do not want pox.
I do not want. Okay, yeah, I do not want pox. So I'm looking up. I'm like, I just wanted to see what kind of animals / pox they would be. I really, really wish I didn't click on that, because you got like chicken pox, buffalo pox, cat pox, camel pox, canary pox, cow pox, dog pox.
And here's the problem on the skin. It looks. Let's put it this way. On some of the photos that they're showing out there, it looks like big, I don't know what you would call them. What would you call them, Jesse?
I guess like boils or something?
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah. Again, like I said, this is in the Bible. Job had boils. Well, you had a pox, right? Way back in the day. You're welcome. Now you know. Okay, but the point is this. It's unlike chickenpox, because chickenpox goes away, and worst case scenario, it shows up later in life with shingles, right? But this one is completely different. It hurts. And because it's on the surface, it itches like crazy. There's very little stuff that will stop the itchiness, but if you rub it for so long, it starts blistering and peeling and then bleeding. Okay? Now, when this happens on your legs, it happens on your elbows, it happens on your face, guess what? You're basically going to have to suffer it for at least a minimum of a month and a half. Okay? Now, that's the suffering part. What happens to the body is worse because it gets into your bloodstream. And when it gets into your bloodstream, it gets into your biology, it gets into your body, and then it creates problems down the line for at least 3 years minimum. So my point is this. Like you keep saying, don't go to what kind of parties?
Oh, you're talking about like those flu parties or chickenpox parties or whatever?
Yeah, don't go to a pox party, man. It's not worth it, okay? There is no immunity for this. That's why the CDC and Biden and the administration and the World Health Organization are saying we need to take, we like, yeah. So back to disease. Disease is getting from one disease to another. Pretty soon we're going to pretty much say 2020 was the worst thing ever because sure, it was a nice little roundup number, but it started with coronavirus. Now we got pox, that we got like several others coming up down the line. What is going on with the world, right? And then we have violence. We have possibly World War III. We're looking at China. We're looking at India. We're looking at Russia. We're looking at Australia. We're looking at the US. We're looking at the UK. We're looking at Europe. We're looking at all these places, including Japan. I don't know. But my point is this. What we need to do is do the right thing, and we got to stay ahead of it. I keep saying this, but we got to get our pharmaceuticals back in check. Okay, we got to do that. Okay, and then of course vaccines and of course treatment. That's when you need treatment because you don't want pox. Trust me, it sucks. Don't get it. All right, people. That's all I got to say. All right, people. I'm out of time. Make it a great day, whatever you do. I'm going to stay on my live show talking about a little bit of this, adding some perspective, taking your social media chat, and we'll talk about that next. Jesse, take it away. All right, if you're still with us, I want to say a big shout out to all those tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see, we got some social media chat people. Mark Blevins, thank you for your comments. Very, very good perspective. Algenia Kirsten, let's see. Yep, talking over there. We appreciate you as well. Stephanie Reed says, let's see, just like from the show Bones when Seeley Booth said, it's not the gun, it's the person pulling the trigger. It's true. It's true. When you look at that, you say, okay. And then Mark saying Texas Governor Greg Abbott still on schedule to speak at the NRA convention in Texas. Yeah, I believe it. And I saw some other comments here, but I don't know how they disappeared. I think, yeah. Okay. So my point is this. We got to be aware of these things, and we got to be ahead of it. And I think the only way to be ahead of it is to be aware that it's happening, right? Sometimes people are kind of like, amiss with the information. Okay, back to, let's go to violence. Okay, violence is happening in almost every city. Okay, and police are trying to ramp up, but there's some that are kind of like slow, if I can be honest about that. For example, the investigation that was supposed to take place in December on my situation when I got mugged, literally, and got my phone stolen, I got called probably like a few weeks later. Okay, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. And I got called and he says, can you identify the guy? And I said, well, honestly, it can't be that hard. I mean, if he did a point of sale, just check that and you'll be fine because the guy's wearing a face mask, right? So basically I'd have to be like, okay, wear a face mask. All right, there you go. All right. Because if he has my phone and you have the ability to, find the guy and then see my phone, it's a Galaxy Note 20. That's my phone. Hook it up. My info's on there, right? Now, having said that. There are people out there that are not thinking with their head. And I say detectives and police and people out there that are trying to do the right thing, please do the right thing and just go back to basics, all right? It's not hard to say to McDonald's, point of sale, you guys have cameras, check. You have a point of sale service, check. And let's see if that was used by a credit card. Check, 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 and check. If they just did that, they'd find the guy. Period, end of story. He didn't just appear out of nowhere. He paid for his stuff, beat me up, and then left. Easy breezy, right? And or get the cameras of the vehicle that he drove away with. Not that hard. Now, if I would have died, would they take it at next level? I say, well, that depends. Some of these cases are only going next level or being reopened because somebody says, in essence, hey, by the way, this is wrong. Now, I'm going to go to an article that actually I was supposed to share a couple days ago, but the violence has really taken it up. And it includes a Lyft driver. Now, my mom brought this up to me because, not going to lie, sometimes to get some extra cash, I recommend doing Lyft, right? But when there's information of people doing some weird stuff, I say, what's going on in life? But when I see people do even weirder stuff and they get bit on the arm, I go, huh? Yeah, this happened recently, and I thought, okay, whoa, right? And this is the problem with some people. The driver reported it, but the police kind of let it go. Now, I will say this. The police have their hands, like, full, okay? And they do. Hold on, I'm going to type this in so I can get the article. I know she sent it to me, so I might have to bring that up. But at the end of the day, there are people that are getting hurt, and they're reporting it. They're doing the right thing, but nothing's being done. Now, he had came onto the report, and the news outlet said, well, we investigated, and we saw it was already closed. Nothing had been done. I go, you mean that person's still out there? So that's bad. Okay, that's number one. Okay, I'm going to bring it up here. Caught on camera. Lyft passenger bites driver. Yeah, there it is. And it was NBC New York. Okay. So let me pull that up here. Let's see. Lyft passenger bites driver. And it was caught on camera. Thank God he had that dash cam thing. Okay, I'll bring it up here. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Here's a news headline. There you go. Okay, it's on YouTube. You can totally check it out. And you would not believe me if I did not, like, show you. She literally bit him on the arm, and then she claimed he touched her. Thank God he had his camera working. But at the end of the day, okay, it's one of those. I hate it when they post the video, but they don't post the story that accompanies it. Is that just me? All right. Yeah, all right, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up, and this is the situation that happened, and it was bad. Okay, it was so bad. She shouts obscenities. She shouts some other stuff, and I'm going to bring it up here. I don't know if it's going to slow my computer down. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully I don't lose you guys. Let's see if I can bring it up here. Okay, here we go. Now this is on YouTube. You can check it out. Okay, so yeah, I'm giving credit where credit's due. This is posted by an NBC outlet. But does it take a outlet like a news agency to say, "Hey, police, do your job"? Because at the end of the day, what happened, at least in the follow-up, was they said it hadn't been dealt with. When they finally made communication and they made it aware to other people, it's like, why would you not put this person behind bars? This is abuse of a whole other kind, okay? Watch this. I don't know the prelude to it, but he is a Lyft driver. Now, Lyft drivers, if you've ever been in a Lyft, usually are nice. They want your tip, right? They usually are not the ones weird. They're usually not the ones unkind. They're the ones trying to work for their family, usually. Now, I'm not going to say they're all 100% kind. Some can be a little rude, and sometimes just like, okay, got you there, bye. You know, I'm like, all right, got it, right? No tip, right? A 1 on that customer service survey, right? But on this person, I would ban her for life, okay? He ran from his vehicle. That's how bad it is, okay? So I don't care how you spin it. This woman is weird. Now, they got some of the audio from her as well, and I'm glad that they did. Again, if you need a dash camera, get one. I'm going to review a few in the next few weeks because I'm going to need a new one, because the one that I have, I'll tell you right now, she would have probably just yeah, because the power's down when it's not like connected to the power, and I hate that. Does anybody have a good recommendation on those? There's a few out there, but I'm telling you, they're going to go next level with these. If these were just built into the cars, you know, there's some vehicles that actually have this already built in. The Wagoneer has it built in for the inside of you know, but the Wagoneer is a very expensive car, so you know, I'm just saying. Vehicles can you do this? Because there are some people that are getting in the vehicles and you don't know what's going to happen, right? I know they say privacy, but there's got to be a way to, you know, disable it and or enable it, right? Oh, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. All right. Yeah, I stepped into a very nice Corvette which had it enabled, and it actually, you could get on a racetrack in our drive, and it actually like recorded the whole movement of it all, like turn by turn, and then it plays it back for you. Come on, if they could do that in Corvette, think about it, right? All right. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, so here it is. Let's see if it slows down my computer. Hopefully it doesn't. Ready? Here it is. Okay, here is the video. And again, the headline, if you want to check it out, it already has 1.7 million views. Caught on camera, Lyft passenger bites driver after trying to steal his phone. Okay, I'm going to push play. Here you go. I guarantee you wouldn't believe me if you didn't see this. Here you go. She goes for something of this, and she bites him! Are you kidding me? What the? No, I don't think so. He says, forget this, I'm out of here. That's him talking about Lyft. He was still driving Lyft a couple weeks later, but he's like, I have a bruise, it hurts, and I'm taking pain medication for it. Now, is he hoping for the obvious of her being locked up? Of course, right? Is Lyft doing anything? I don't know. Are they meant to do anything? I don't know. Are they gonna like reimburse him? I don't know. Can he sue? Yes. I don't know if this girl has money, but that's the bite. You're probably saying, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, right. It gets worse, right? There it is. Oh, goodness. I'm glad he took pictures. Seriously, you would not believe this sort of thing happened, right? But did the police do anything at the end of the day? No. They basically called it open and shut case. Why? They called it assault, but that's it. You got to go to prison, Lee. And she's like, oh, I'm going to steal his car. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. She wants to steal the car, by the way. Yeah, that's her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You recognize her. Don't date that woman. I'm telling you. All right. His dash cam, thank God, was recording. Thank God he had professionally installed. Maybe that's what I need to do. And they have ones that actually record the back of your vehicle, too, if you have a really good one. Anywhere from $300 to, like, I think the most probably like $400. So that's the report. That's the other part I want to bring up. All right. It says canvas conducted. No. Meaning they didn't do anything about it. That's the report that he reported, but nothing happened. All right, so that's the news report. All right. Now, is that the right thing to happen? No. Is it happening? Yes. Can you believe she bit him on the arm out of nowhere? Poor Lyft driver. What if she had a gun? She would have killed him, guaranteed, right? So at the end of the day, let's say, go to your comments. I don't know what you do with that, but seriously, doesn't that make you like, oh, poor guy? It was me. He's trying to provide for his family, driving with his vehicle. This is their vehicle, not your vehicle. People, don't get crazy. So I'm glad he had a camera, because it would have been he said versus she said, guaranteed. Because the stuff she said, like on the phone, when you hear the audio, and they play the audio pretty loud, and you're like, whoa, have a camera, man. Have a camera rolling at all times. I almost want to have a body camera at all times. There are some things I've seen in the past few months that I go, people would never believe me. So be careful out there. Okay, whoever has, you know those GoPros, there's got to be one that you can wear all the time that's always on. Because I go into some really, really bad areas. And I'm like, you know what? If it's just on me and you don't know what's on me, why be protected? I saw one recently, not going to lie. It was like $30. Not going to lie. Thinking about investing in it. And it was very simple. That's why I like ones that are on glasses. I like that, but they don't record enough. That's true. But always on recording, I'm kind of all right with right now because people are violent. Okay, back to devices. Devices are good when they record because at least it's not he said, she said. It's called, oh, shoot. We need to be aware of what's happening in our life, right? And then you could prove it through a video and go, yep, there it is. Okay, you see? But at the end of the day, are we protected? The answer is, I don't know, right? Back to McDonald's. McDonald's did not release the footage. They said, I need a police report. I got the police report. Do I need to go back, or is the footage gone? It's probably gone by now, right? It's like months after. So I say this. Let it be a lesson to you. To do this, always follow up, always do the right thing, and always keep ahead of it. Now, I will say this. I did get, I think it's here. I have yet to follow up with it. Yep, here it is. I'm gonna bring this up, okay? The city of Los Angeles. Okay, here it is. All right. They sent me this, and I don't know what to do with it. I'm not going to lie. It says, on behalf of the LA City Attorney's Office Victim Assistance Program, I'm writing to offer you help with any problems which may have arisen as a result of a crime. Thank you. I appreciate that. Or our program can provide services such as resource and referrals and assistance in filing for the state of California victims of crime compensation application for any out-of-pocket medical, dental expenses, wage loss, funeral, burial expenses. God, thank God I'm not dead. Mental health treatment. It wasn't me that needed the treatment. It's he. Relocation. Interesting. Didn't know that was a thing. And crime scene cleanup expenses that you may have incurred. Oh, maybe they came to some information then. I don't know. It says if there has been a suspect arrested on your case, our staff can explain court procedures to you and will answer any questions you may have. Upon your request, our staff may also provide assistance in court during your testimony. Well, now I do need to call and be like, why did you guys send this to me? Because I would have thought they would have called me. Maybe I missed the call. Oh, all right. It says, upon your request, our staff may also provide assistance in court during your testimony. Oh, encloses our program's pamphlet that will help give you detailed information about the services that we offer. I'm not going to lie, I think that must be here somewhere. If you need assistance in filing an application, please be aware that the Victim Compensation Program requires all claims to be filed within 7 years from the date of the crime. Good to know. 3 years after a victim turns 18, all right, or 3 years from the time it could have reasonably been known that a crime took place, whichever is later. If the application is based on specified crimes involving sex with a minor, didn't happen, a victim may file at any time prior to the victim's 28th birthday. Oh, that's good to know for you. How's that read? If the application is based on specific crimes involving sex with a minor, a victim may file at any time prior to the victim's 28th birthday. Oh, because they'd be a minor. Got it. So, that's good information. So if you're 28 and or younger and you've been molested, raped, and or anything, you can report it. Period, end of story. Actually, it's good information, right? So know that. There you go. Forget about statute of limitations. That's important. An application filed beyond the statutory limit, there it is, may be considered by submitting a late filing consideration for, there it is. See, you can still file. People got to be locked away, man, because if they do it to you, they're going to do it to others. Period, end of story. Usually they do it minimum 3, especially when they get away with it. Then they do it like however many times they need to, or want to, I should say. However many times they want to, not need to, because they don't need to. It says, if you need additional information or decide to file a claim on your own, you may contact the state directly at 1-800-777-9229 or visit their website at vcgcb.ca.gov/victims. If we do not hear from you within 10 days, we'll assume that you do not wish our assistance. We'll close your case. Why would you close my case? Like, you didn't say anything in here. Let's see. This is March 12th, 2022. Oh. Did you close the case? I don't know. This is like a standard letter. They don't even talk about my situation. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about the case. And this is from the Michael N. Feuer city attorney. I guarantee he doesn't even know what is going on. All right. So my point is this. What do I do? I don't know. I'll probably go on and say, well, I just got it because I did actually, a few days ago. All right, so my point is this. What do we do next, right? I really got to call that. Back to that. Do you report? If you report, then you're ahead of it. If you stay silent, you're never ahead of it. And these people go away and they get other people dead, okay? So be ahead of it. If you've been raped and or molested and or, been assaulted, because I have some of you actually reporting when I posted that picture of me bloodied. And I hope it always brings awareness to other people. Be safe out there. That happened in December, right before all the violence really started to occur, especially in LA. Report and let people know what happened, okay? Because if you don't, let's put it this way. That's what crime wants. That's what bad people want. That's what others want. They want you to die, okay? They don't want you to live, and they want other people to die. So protect yourself, protect somebody else, and let somebody know, right? At least it's a report, right? And at least they sent me a letter, right? I don't know what happened with it. I don't know if they got the guy or if they didn't. I didn't get another phone call. I don't know what to do, right? So, yeah. Let's see how Genius says, consult a lawyer first. Well, I say this, they charge a wazoo, right? Just to consult. All right. Shameless plug, by the way. I'm going to bring this up. Actually, let me bring this up really quick. Let me bring this one up. This is the first of 3 coming out soon. A Butterfly Story. You can take a look at this. Get it at your bookstore, Barnes & Noble. Just order it. You can actually have them order it as well at your local bookstore because it's in the system. Just look for A Butterfly Story by Aaron Michael Sanchez. And then this one, A Good Man. This one's coming out soon. I got to edit this a little and then get something at the end which makes sense for people. And I got to change. Oh, by the way, this is a first copy. Okay, so I'm going to ask people, just kind of look at that, all right? And what do you think, number 1? Okay, number 2, It's what I call a draft, okay? But it's a full-fledged book. It's not on sale yet. Now, I have this. I'm going to show this. It's kind of hard to see, and I think I chose the wrong color for the book, right? So that's kind of what it looks like. I like the picture of the two boys. I like that. I want to keep it, but I don't know how to like figure that part out. So I don't know what color to go with, and I like white on that, or should I do black like the other one? Let me bring this one up. Okay, Butterfly Story. But I do need pictures. Okay, so if anybody has a really good artist they can recommend, I would love it if we could do something with that. Let me bring this up here. All right, so this is the inside, right, of a Butterfly Story. Okay. And then this is what I did on the inside. But I use kind of the same template of the little tree, right? I don't put butterflies on this one. I do want pictures on this side of it, right, on the white side. But it comes with no pictures because, honestly, I don't have the money yet for that. All right, so I got to sell a certain amount of these to be able to pay for a artist to be able to do it. Somebody said, why don't you just do it yourself? I go, you know how much time that takes? I don't have that type of time. I got a lot of stuff to do, which I do. And I'm writing a business book as well. But I guess my question is this. What color do you like? What color pops out to you? Post that in social media really quick and fast. I may need to do a little bit of like, I don't know, per book and or ebook, bought and or sold, maybe like, I don't know, maybe a drive or something. So if you think that's a good idea, let me know in the comments below. If you think you want me to come to your area, put that in the comments below. And if you think maybe we need to do stuff about violence out there, well, then I say, let's do the right thing. All right. Put me in contact with an organization that can do something about it, because it's organizations that can do and or deal with these things that happen in people's homes. Okay. Back to Guardian. The Guardian, let me bring up a poster so you guys can see this, because this is what's happening. And recently I had a conversation with a couple people, and I'm like, okay, they're like, well, do you think that's a little adult or that's too much, like, information? I go, man, you do not know what happens to people that they don't talk about. All right. And this was a TV show that I think they need to actually bring back. Okay. So if anybody knows Scott Baker, please bring it back. Okay, let me bring this up. Let's see here. Let me bring one up that you would recognize. All right, I'll bring up. None of these are the one of the cover. But here's why I say this. This is exactly what I say is happening in people's homes. Okay, this type of stuff on this show covers exactly what happens in homes. Okay, and it's extreme, but people watch Law and Order. They watch Special Victims Unit. They watch CSI. They watch all these things, but they kind of don't bridge the gap of why kids need help in the end, right? And that's the problem, right? You need to be aware of how to help each other, right? So let's see, TV show. Let's see. And I think they need to bring it back. Okay, they're not doing anything with mentalists. I think they need to be to bring back. Simon Baker, and they just need to bring him back. You can watch evidently on Hulu. I know I saw something else. I'm trying to bring it up here. I don't want to show that because that's that. Okay, it's on Amazon as well. All right, well, let me bring up Amazon. Why not? I mean, yeah, I could post a link for you guys. Yep, it's a Paramount Plus. There it is, Paramount Plus. Okay, so if you have Paramount Plus, which I do, you can watch The Guardian. All right. Now I'm not going to show you, anything because I don't want to be that. Oh, here it is. Perfect. Okay, so let me show you this. Okay, this is a show that I say you need to at least pay attention to. Okay, again, I don't know if it's going to slow down my computer. Hopefully it doesn't. Here you go. All right. Let me get this proper size so you can see it. All right, this is kind of the trailer part of it. There you go. Again, on Paramount Plus. Love this, okay? Here it is. Simon Baker, they've got 3 seasons. I think they need to bring it back because we have a lot more stories that need to be told, and we need to bring it back for people so that we understand there are people suffering because of people that do these things in the home. And there's all kinds of cases, all right? But he's an attorney, kind of elite attorney, which has to help out because he kind of got caught with drugs. Okay, so the only way to kind of get out from Dodge is do community service at this. They call it a children's center. Okay, and at this children's center, they learn about cases all the time because the police call them when they have to deal with certain crimes. Okay, that happen in the home. All right. Now let me just scroll down here. Here's some of the stuff in between, and pretty cool stuff. Plus other shows that you could check out: Beauty and the Beast, Touched by an Angel, Instinct, Flashpoint. Love that show. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let me scroll back up. So it's a really good show. I'm gonna refresh it because I want you to kind of see kind of the little trailer that they show it. Let's see if it brings it up. Oh, not that. No, don't need that. There you go. Very good show. But it kind of covers all the things that happen behind the scenes and sometimes in front of the scenes of things that people don't want other people to know. So I say at least bring awareness that these things happen and be aware that there are kids involved, all right? If you just watch the first episode, you'll be like, wow, that's pretty heavy. But I say this, sometimes we need to have these discussions, right? Because we're not having them and we need to be aware of them. So if anybody knows any of the writers and the people, I have a recommendation. I have a couple thoughts about some stories that they could go with this and kind of re-enliven it. Because we need shows like this that bring awareness and that people know, no, this stuff really happens. All right, people like this are very hard to come by that care about the kids. That's why it's called The Guardian. He actually plays the guardian up to a point because he helps them out through their legal system, right? Because honestly, some of these kids go through the legal system and they get lost. And you need somebody that wants to care, takes care, and then gets with the team that do care. And that's kind of what I'm hoping the book A Good Man does. It needs to bring awareness to families and or people that don't want abuse in the home. Okay, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Okay, abuse in the home. When it happens, what do you do? Now, there's a call to action at the very end of it. Okay, so it's very responsible. And it's called 1-800-422-4453. Okay, that if you or someone you know has a problem, you call that number and they handle it right away. Okay, but that's what I want to cause awareness for people in a very like rhyme setting that it's very kind of lighthearted but kind of heavy at the same time, because I need people to make sense that these things are happening around the world. And we don't want it to happen in the home, right? So I want to get into schools. I want to get into places that care about this sort of thing. But I really want to get the discussion with services, legal, police to say, hey, we got to work together, because this show talks about them not working together. But what happens if you can have them all work together? How many people are doing that? Are there some organizations that do that right? I say yes. I say I've met a few along the way, and I need to meet more, okay? Because in a local community, it needs to happen, okay? There are too many abuse things that go on, never talked about, all right? And if you are an adult and you have had abuse, you know what I'm talking about, right? It leaves scars that are honestly never talked about, ever thought about, and honestly buried, but it's still there, all right? And if you are a man, right, and you're a father or a potential father, you want to deal with this, right ahead of time, right? Because if you have a family down the line, you're gonna have a problem. If you were the victim of an abuse, right, that you haven't dealt with, right, you have to stop it in its tracks. Okay, so at the end of the day, that's kind of what the story kind of evolves into. I think I have yet to I've talked to a couple people that have read it out loud, and I go, hey, can you read it aloud and let me know what you think? And sometimes I have them read it in front of me, and I go, all right, I need to change this, that, and the other. So it's always evolving. All right, it's always evolving. But I say this: read it, see what you think, and then give your input. All right, I already had a few people buy off of Barnes & Noble, so thank you. That's the other one, the butterfly story. It's very heartfelt, not gonna lie. May shed a tear, not gonna lie. And at the end, you may go, huh? But it's a really good story all the way. Okay. All right. Having said that, I want to say thank you for spending time with us. Again, shout out to those tuning in. We appreciate you. Make it a great day, whatever you do. And remember, life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone.